Hi guys, welcome back to our video again. So in this video we got to test track this CMX 1100 with Rebel 1001. It has only a single side exhaust, as you can see here, only blackout, very minimal chrome part. Even the fork, you can see it's sort of like iodized blackout, upright fork, it's not inverted. There's also preload adjustment here on the front fork. There's a radial mount caliper which looks cooler. For the front brake is a 4-port caliper. It's a single disc, very minimalist headlight looking as per your regular cruiser style. And then you get your 2 LED headlight, LED always on daytime running light. Okay, the front end looks a bit big, probably like an 18-inch. So it's a two-tone color on the tank pad. And from the side here, it's pretty raw. You can see all your engine components, your throttle body, and your keyhole at the side. So to open the under seat, all you need to do is just press in and then turn. Then you'll be able to lift up the rider seat. So this is a pretty decent storage space. And what's this? No idea what's this. So the handlebar lock will be on the right hand side of the bike. It's a separate keyhole. The passenger foot pack. And it's a twin shock preload adjustable, chain driven here. Okay, so at the rear is a LED tail light, pretty standard. As usual, the rear seat is a little bit small. That's the cruiser style. Probably for passenger confident, you will need a chassis bar. So even the passenger footrest is blacked out. So that's pretty cool. So as you can see, this is the passenger seat. So it's pretty small. And your butt should be out of the frame. Okay, so right now we will hop onto the bike and let's talk a little bit about the ergonomics. Okay, so it's a pretty low rider, as you can see. The knee is bent like probably 45 degrees. So this is a DCT model, so there's no clutch involved in this system here. So this is the handbrake. Then you see this parking light will actually be activated once you pull it. And then to release it, there's a button here. All you need to do is just press on it. It will be deactivated. So the display is pretty simple. It's just a round dash. Few items here: your rev, your speed, your fuel gauge, your electronic controls, temperature, and then these are all the warning lights. So you have your high beam, okay, pass light. This you can actually select sports mode, standard mode, rain mode, and user, which this you can customize your power, traction, and engine braking if I'm not wrong. So we'll just go on with a standard. When you press on the mode button here, or this arrow here basically tells you where you are controlling. So it gives you the odometer, your range, your time, instant fuel consumption. Okay, so these are the things that you can look: average fuel consumption, etc. So horn signal light, this is your engagement for your drop gear, DCT, and then the up gear is on your trigger finger. So here is pretty straightforward. You start your engine here, your neutral, your drive mode, your manual control, auto control, A and M, cruise control, increment or decrement of your speed, then brake, nothing here. Okay, it's not a forward control, it's more like an in between mid and forward. As you can see, your leg is forward but not really forward, so it's somewhere in between. And because of the DCT, so here there will be a big bulb coming out. So I think the manual will be slimmer. Okay, so rolling the bike is pretty easy. It's on a full tank, but it's pretty light and easy to handle from a standstill. Let's start the test ride. Let's hop on. Okay, so we leave out the side stand, turn on the key. So you see that red bell coming out. Subconsciously I want to clutch in, but it's a DCT, so I just start the bike. As you can hear, this is the rumble. So if I open up my visor, you can hear the rumble. Pretty cool. Okay, so let's close the visor. Okay, no gear 1, nothing. So press on the D mode, enter drive, and then let's roll off. Okay, so the control is pretty forward. even the handlebar, so you have to really stretch a little bit forward to reach out. So I don't know, it's me or what. Slow speed is a little bit choppy when we are at the standard mode. So as per normal, the DCT shift really quickly. The bike rate lines at around 8,000 RPM. So at 2,000 I'm already at what, 4th gear. Okay, it's very V-twin like, probably because it's still a parallel twin engine. So it's very choppy when you are riding in slower speed. Okay, so I keep on trying to reach out to the clutch, but it's a DCT, so once you station, it will go back to gear 1. So you will feel some like a vibration on the handlebar, which is really light. I don't think you get a chance to grip the thing because this thing is quite far apart. So if you try to grip, then your leg is bending inwards, which is really uncomfortable. Okay, it's a 1100, definitely it has a lot of pull. And if you are not sensitive to the throttle, it keeps chopping because it's a roll on, roll off kind of throttle. So it has a lot of torque pulling you forward and slowing down. So while riding, you can't switch mode. So I believe you have to come to a complete stop before you can switch the mode. But slower traffic like this, having a DCT is always a luxury because you don't need to do a half clutch. You can just ride it like a scooter, roll on and off the throttle. Okay, the suspension is adequate. You can still feel the unevenness on the road, but it's not that harsh. So I think it's pretty balanced between comfort and sportiness. And the bike is really light. When you try to push it down and commit to a bend, it basically just goes. Based on what I see here, the foot peg is pretty tall. It doesn't scrape that easily if you are committing into a very tight turn. So it's smart, okay? Okay, so the brakes are pretty sharp in city cruising, so I think it's definitely more than adequate with just a single 4-port caliper. Okay, pretty well thought out suspension. Wow, it's already at 6th gear. So however, I think if the road gets worse, so let's say you are riding in the B road in Malaysia full of pothole kind, then this might not be comfortable. Ultimately, this is still a cruiser, so you should always have expectation to ride on proper tarmac for the best comfort of it. So let's see whether we can lane speed since we are here. I don't think it should be an issue. This bike is pretty slim and light, so lane speeding definitely no issue. So with like lorries and MPV, you still can squeeze through. 26 degrees. So let's see when or how does it feel after the fan operates. So we'll try to stick to a slower speed traffic for a little while more before we cruise up on the highway and see how it does. Okay, the downshifting is pretty smooth. Basically, I don't feel any jerk. When you press on this button, the D mode will be gone. Then you will be able to do your manual. So we'll try a manual mode for a while. So you see both my legs can easily on the tarmac. So that's why cruisers are pretty popular to shorter riders or older riders where you don't want to stress yourself too much while riding. And I think I am at that category now, so I pretty like how this thing feels. Okay. Oh, so even if in manual mode, the drop gear will be done automatically. So let us try sports. I guess the difference between sports, standard and rain is how the gear is being adjusted. Probably sports will give you higher rev, but just now the DCT was pretty smart when we tried to open the throttle. It allowed us to rev to 6,000 RPM before it starts shifting. Basically guess your intent, what you want to do, and adjust the shift timing accordingly. Okay, sport is very sensitive in the throttle, so probably that's not very comfortable doing it in a city setup. So we have went back to standard, and then it's still 26 degrees in the coolant temp. So we forgotten to do one thing, is to measure the fuel consumption. Because it's a twin cylinder, it should be pretty fuel economical. So we take this opportunity at this traffic light, we try to reset the average fuel consumption. Okay, so we resetted it. Okay, I'm not too sure how you can change this to liter per 100 km to km per liter. I guess there's a way, but it's just that I don't know how. Press and hold on the down button, press and hold on the up button, press and hold on the mode button. 12 hours, yes, clock, okay. Light, HISS on, trip A on, unit, speed, kilometer. Okay, here, meter per, okay, cool. So, okay, so it's still 26 degrees on the coolant temp. So very interesting. It doesn't go up or doesn't go down at all. So I'm at gear 4 now, what, 42 kilometers per hour. On gear 5, wow, it really shifts really quickly. So riding a cruiser like this, you are required to open up your arms and also your knees. Okay, so you will definitely get a lot of wind channel through your body. So to say, when you are riding it, it's pretty cooling. And I don't feel any heat coming out from the engine so far. And the bike is pretty quiet from a rider standpoint. I don't really hear the rumbling of the engine that much, probably because we are riding at slower speed. And this is a really light bike to move around at really slow speed, so there's no stress to it also. Whoa, okay, so these are the larger big potholes that we talked about. Okay, on a quieter road like this, you will be able to hear the exhaust note then. Not sure whether you can hear it from the mic, because the mic is being embedded inside the helmet. We also play some of the sound recorded from this action cam. Just now we remember seeing the range is about 140-ish, and it's indicated full tank here, which means the tank is pretty small. But from the looks of it, I think it should be what, at least 12 or 13 liters. But not forgetting this, because this is a 1100cc bike, so probably the range is correct. Okay, so now the fan is on. It's pretty slow speed, and you can only feel it when you are that close. So anything further, you don't really feel the fan blowing out any hot air. So it's a very cool bike in terms of temperature and also the style of it. Let's enter the highway and see how it does in terms of cruising speed and also wind protection. I mean, the wind protection is definitely something we don't need to test, because there's clearly no protection at all. It's just to experience how you feel when you're riding at cruising speed. Interestingly, just now we talked about the fan. You'll feel a little bit hot air coming out from the right side and nothing on the left. Okay, so now we enter the highway. Okay, the mirror is a little bit small, you can't really see much of it because of the aesthetic. Okay, that was a wrong gear, it hits me at 6, so when I try to pull, I feel a little bit choppy. Okay, let's go to the outer lane and see how it does. It's really comfortable cruising around slower speed. It doesn't stress you out to go faster or whatnot. It doesn't have that feel that it's got to stall any point of time because it's a DCT as well. And I think the other factor is that the bike doesn't generate a lot of heat to the rider. That's why you don't feel the pressure that you have to ride faster to increase the ventilation. Okay, so the mirror is really restricted to one lane and pretty big blind spot not being covered. Okay, so once you reach 90, you can pretty much feel the wind. So I felt that this bike is pretty easy or comfortable in a city cruising setup rather than chopping big miles. What it lacks is basically lack of a wind protection and some storage capacity. I think they have the tour version for this, which it comes with a shroud or cover to produce better wind protection. Now we finally see that the radiator is on 30 degrees, actually moves out a little bit. We are on the bike for about 29 minutes. So far so good. The seat is still comfortable. I don't feel any hard spot or any soreness. It's just that when it comes to all this patchy road, you can feel every bump. So like I said early on, it's skewed towards a sporty suspension. There we go. Probably it's a user thing, so whenever you try to put your foot back at the pack, okay, so you will have the issue of hitting the kickstand because this part is really huge as compared to the top, so you probably have that false impression that it's nearer and then you always hit. It's not a major issue because it's spring loaded, so all you feel is just something went wrong, but it's not a big deal. Okay, interestingly you see the range went up. So you see the bike is pretty light, so even the road is slightly sloping downwards, I still can use my feet to rotate forward and backward. Although it's a 1100, so it's not a monster to handle. So we keep on saying that the bike is very nimble. Okay, one thing I noticed now is that the bike is actually not very long in terms of wheelbase as compared, so I think that's also one of the reason why it's so easy to handle and it's so sharp. So let's try doing a U-turn. How sharp can it turn? Does it require a 3-lane thing, or you can easily do it within 2 or 1? So that's something that we are here to find out. Okay, pretty easy. Okay, the rear brake is not as sharp as the front, although I really exert some force on it. It slows you down, but in a very gradual manner. So you turn. Okay, not that bad. Very nimble for a cruiser. So not bad if you're just cruising in slower speed roads like this. Pretty comfortable. Not hot, not stressful, really enjoy the ride. More or less we get a first impression of the feel of this Rebel 1100. It's basically a very simple bike, although there's ride mode and whatnot, but these are very common nowadays in all bikes. It doesn't have a lot of other bells and whistles like what your TFT display, your connectivity stuff, what your mobile app, and etc. But it's generally a very easy bike to handle. It's light, It's not hot, it's not stressful, it's easy to maneuver, it's sharp, it's simple, so it's something really you hop on it and then you just twist the throttle and go. It's not like, wow, you have to do a lot of setup and whatnot before you can enjoy the ride. So it allows you to ride at a slower pace with a lot of comfort. So that's a plus point for usually all the 1000cc and above bike, which you seldom get this kind of feeling. It's either too hot, too heavy, or you can't ride it in really slow speed. I would say this is really something different, special. Not an aggressive bike, but it's a very chilling, relaxing bike to ride. So which makes it fun to ride around the city. Unless we are talking about this kind of speed, you can see that it's a little bit choppy. But I guess switch it to rain mode, it should solve the issue. Okay, since we have that hypothesis, there's a red light in front, so we'll just switch it to rain mode and then see how it goes. Okay, 30, 20-ish. Okay. So on rain mode, that choppiness actually subsides a lot, which is very comfortable. Okay, but your throttle response also delayed by a lot. So I guess if you are really riding in city mindlessly, rain mode is the way to go. A good balance will be standard. And of course, if you are curving up canyons and whatnot, then you can go for the sports mode. So interestingly, the range went up again. So the average fuel consumption here indicated is 17.4. We do about 80% city, 20% on the highway just now. So pretty decent for a class 2 bike. So our average speed is only 34. That's pretty normal for a city riding. So right now it's about 50 over-ish kind of minutes on the bike. You don't feel any discomfort on the ergonomics. Except sometimes when you try to roll the bike, you feel a bit strained on your knee because of the weird angle. So I guess the discomfort actually comes from riding habit. So I'm used to mid control, so I always tend to put my foot really back towards the bike or where my body is positioning. So whenever I move the bike a little bit, it feels a bit strained on the knee. So however, I think cruiser should be something like this. So you should place your feet forward and then just race it like that. Not too sure, probably those full-time cruiser rider can shed some light about this riding ergonomics or this habit while you are riding on this kind of half mid, half forward control. The seat itself has also a very nicely carved out shape of that curve on your butt. You feel like you are being wrapped around, which is a really nice feeling. So now we are heading back to Honda Bonsiu right ahead to return this Rebel 1100. Alright guys, thank you for watching this video. See you on the next one. Bye bye.